OK, welcome back. Arsenal Chief Executive Ivan Gazidis has announced he's going to leave Arsenal for AC Milan. Ian Wright, this is your specialist subject. The floor is yours.
He loves it.
The legacy he has left.
I'm not sure about the legacy he's left. I think that what we've got to understand is that he's not a fan of the club. He's doing a job for the club, and you know, I think that's what you get. You kind of get confused in the fact that someone like him actually cares deeply about what's going on with the club. I think that you just have to look at his statement where he's saying that you've got to get behind new structure and get behind a new manager, and then he leaves. It's quite disappointing at a time where I feel that with everything that's gone on with Arsenal in the last 10 years and that he needed to maybe stay and keep things going. This was the time to build some form of legacy for himself in respect to what he's doing.
So why do you think he has left at this moment?
I think that's the makeup of the guy. I think that's in his eyes. He feels that this is the best time to leave. Whereas if he really sat back and looked at what's going on at Arsenal, this is the time where you needed somebody, a CEO who's going to steer the ship through what's going on now with Unai Emery, a new manager and new people at the helm. And you know, people talk about the commercial side of what's happening. I think Arsenal is a global commercial entity. That's not what you're thinking. His job is at Arsenal. His job is to try and get the best possible team on the pitch. And where you look at where Arsenal are at the moment, what was it, 37 points? You said 37 points.
I think. Yeah.
37 points behind City. We're not really challenging at Champions League level to get into that ballpark anymore.
They were 4 points behind the champions, Manchester United, when in 2009, and he took over halfway through the following season.
I think that when you look at as well, you say his legacy. I think when you look at the contracts, players running down, the good players that have left, and then if I'm really going to go into it, you think of Suarez.
That's what we're here for.
When you look at the Suarez debacle that was on his watch. You know, I mean, £1 over the buyout clause for somebody for somebody that would have changed the direction of the club. And I think that, you know, that's, like I say, that's on his watch. And I think history will judge him. I'm quite pleased that he's gone, because he's the kind of person that, when you look at, like I mentioned, the statement about structure, and now he's gone, that kind of shows the person that he is. And that's not the kind of person that we need at Arsenal.
It's not Arsenal, is it?
No, we need somebody who's really going to be fighting for the fans and trying to get us back where we need to be. And that is challenging to get back in the top four, let alone winning the Premier League. And then hopefully from there on, then trying to win the Premier League, to then try and get back and winning things like the Champions League and challenging for it seriously again. But I think that history will judge him, and I think it will judge him unfairly, because I don't think he's done very well for Arsenal.
Well, he took over as a chief executive in 2009, of course, and this is what Arsenal have done in that time. Two managers, of course, mainly with Arsene Wenger, 3 FA Cups, 8 top 10 finishes out of 10. The net spend over that time isn't that much, is it? £250 million. Of course, there was the stadium, perhaps,
of course.
The fallout from that as well. How do you see
there's always been a fallout due to the stadium. But if you look at the money received as well, it was actually the quality of players that they lost. They always, you know, the Van Persies at the time, and they lost some real important, and also statements where actually, you know, if you were at Manchester City at the time, even like with the likes of Nasri and, of course, Fabregas was always, you know, because it was Barcelona. Yeah. But like I said, with the Van Persie issue and like people like Cliche, and you know, they could come and get your best players. Where before that wasn't Arsenal, you couldn't really go and get Vieira if you were at Manchester United, or you know, you couldn't go and get Bergkamp. It was always a statement. It was more of a statement. Those clubs were basically able to go and take your best boys. Arsenal, globally, I believe there's a lot of people who can go in and do that job globally for bringing in money, because they're a huge club worldwide. Yeah. The Premier League globally is huge as well. So marketing and bringing money into a club like Arsenal, I believe a lot of people can go and do that job. But at the same time, the previous manager, Arsene, would have had a lot of say, would have dictated a lot of what went on at Arsenal. So his hands might have been tied for a number of those years. So
do you feel he should have stood up to him?
But this is the point. He gave him a 2-year deal when at a time where, you know, it was people were starting to think, well, it's time maybe for the boss to maybe move on at that time. And I don't think that he had the balls.
Well, this is
to
the point
say,
this was the point I was going to get to is, OK, then you've made a decision, then he's gone, then you've brought in Emery. If you want to create a legacy, now is your time to do it.
Yeah.
Now, this is our pathway, this is where we want to go. So in the next 5, 10 years, then we can see how well you've done. Now, you've brought in a manager, you've gone your own way, you're having a way more of a say than you did before. Then you could build, and then to go after a few months of Emery coming in, I just feel, well, I don't know, and you know Arsenal way better than me. This is your opportunity to build a legacy, and you've moved out.
He's made that statement about getting behind new structure and new manager when he obviously knew that he wasn't going to be around there. And that says everything I need to know about him. You know what, I'm not going to do anything but wish him all the very best, but the fact is, I just hope now that Arsenal gets somebody in who's going to try and take Arsenal in the direction that everybody's desperate at Arsenal for it to be going in.
Do you think that will happen at Arsenal?
Yeah, I hope so.
Now he's gone.
I hope so, but we've still got the Cronkies involved, and the word is maybe Josh Kroenke might be taking over. Hopefully, he might be able to sweet talk his dad and put a couple more quid into the place. But if that doesn't happen, I think it's going to take a lot longer than we'd like it to take. And hopefully, Unai Emery will be able to get the kind of monies that's going to help him to implement the style of play he wants.